All right, what is up, guys? And welcome back to another video. Just finished up my first round. I'll be linking it down in the description below. This is a second and third round following that first round pick. These are what I think are going to happen picks. I'll do this is a predictive mock draft. And then I'll be doing a first round only, what I would do personally if I was the GM of all 32 NFL teams. So I'll be doing a first round, what I would do mock draft at the start of next week. This week, we're finishing off with the second and third round of what I think is going to happen, the predictive mock draft. So let's get into it. We took Aiden Hutchinson, number one. They do have a really good defensive tackle, nose stuff, guy, Devon Hamilton already. Let's get a pass rusher with pass rush upside. Devontae White, defensive lineman out of Georgia, potentially could go in the first, but I think he could slip a little bit here. This is your quarterback pick. I love Desmond Ritter, but I think they're going to want a little bit more mobility and pizzazz. Yes, he ran very fast, but Sam Howell, over 800 yards. Excuse me. And that just proves it. He's going to be a little bit more explosive than Desmond Ritter. Maybe a more big play, big risk, big play guy, but the mobility and the athleticism and the running is definitely there. So I think they're going to take him here and just see how he is. Now we come here to pick 35 with the Jets. We're looking, and we took tackle and edge early. So let's go get some big receiver help, and it's going to be George Pickens right off the bat. Get a young quarterback, some nice help. You got Elijah Moore, really good, smaller, quicker slot guy. Let's go get your big perimeter guy out of Georgia, George Pickens. Here it says safety, but in my opinion, biggest need is linebacker. Linebacker is missing. Linebacker, there's a gap. They had a couple young guys from a couple years ago, but this year they just did not show up. Let's go with Christian Harris all around out of Alabama. Could sneak up into the first, but we'll see. Here, pick 37. I would go with George Karlaftis, but just not quite the scheme fit that I like. I would go David Ajabo, but the Achilles tear scares people away. So let's go a little bit off the marks and a little bit more towards the rising name, Arnold Ebiketie. This is the guy that's going to, that will go top 40. So pick 37, that's about where I would predict. Here, we look at needs, tackle, we just double dipped at receiver. So let's go get secondary help, but we're not going to go directly to a safety. We're going to go to a guy that can play all over the field, inside, outside, safety, returner, Roger McCreary out of Auburn. A little smaller and didn't test as well as we predicted, but it's still going to be a very, very, very good pickup. And I think that this is going to be a guy that's going to develop over the years, but he could really develop into a little bit of an undersized number one. Pick 39. Let's just get you a guy that can plug and play on the defensive side of the ball. So it's going to be Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. A lot of people have him rising, but I think that he's just a really, really, really good pick here. And I think that there's things that, he's going to walk into that he's not going to be ready for, like the starting role at pick 39, taking over for Khalil Mack. And I think there's going to be a lot of hits and a lot of misses in his pass rush game. The run defense doesn't scare me much. The long arms, the tenaciousness, the toughness, the grit's going to get him in the run game. It's going to be easy for him, but we'll see how well he can handle, premier tackles in this league as an undersized guy at Minnesota. He's really undersized defensive end. He's only about 6'3", 260 pounds. So he's a little shorter, still got the length, but he's a little bit more of a compact guy. My Seattle Seahawks, took Derek Stingley here. We're going to come here and we're going to pick. I know these are going to end up being my guys, but, let's just go next big thing. And we're going to go George Karlaftis. Motors there. He looks the part. He fits the defense. Karlaftis doesn't fall to 40 realistically, but if he did, this would be an easy snag. We come out here. We double dip. We see tackle. We see this. We see that. I'm going to take Daniel Falele out of Minnesota. He could play all over the line. Gabe Jackson held it down. Still think Damian Lewis is our guy. Brandon Shell is a shell of himself. Are we going to bring back Dwayne Brown? Let's see. Daniel Falele, great pickup here. People had him mocked in this area anyway, so let's just get him going to Seattle at 41. Pick 42, it's just going to be next best thing to bolster down the defense. This team is a quarterback away from, making a Super Bowl run. So why not keep it going? Let's add help. Let's add Perrion Winfrey. He can play all over this 3-4 defensive line. Perrion Winfrey is a high riser. He's my guy. He's a guy that I think is going to last a very long time in this league. Here, we're going to come to the Atlanta Falcons. You have your quarterback. Do you take a quarterback here or do you take a quarterback next year? Let's take Lewis Cine out of Georgia. Keep him in the state, a little bit of a riser. It's just next best thing on defense. Their corners are okay. Terrell, a high riser. Their front seven, you could grab another guy in free agency, or in the preseason. You never know what happens. Trades may happen. But Lewis is the next best pick for this team. And we're going to go with the Browns. They do need a receiver. So let's go look at receiver. I think they're going to go with a little bit more size here. But I think, David Bell is a little bit rich for me. Alec Pierce is a big riser. I like him, but there's no doubt that, they need this slot guy now. And I think that Jalen Tolbert is a very high riser. He's got good size. He's 6'1". He's 190 pounds. Inside outside flexibility, but I'd really like to see him in the slot. And I think that he could be a 100,000 10 guy. He could be a guy that goes over 100 catches, 1,000 yards, and 10 touchdowns every year with the right scheme and productivity. So I think it's a little bit, of a stab here in the second on a potential third round flyer, but when you've got a mumbo jumbo tier of guys like Bell, Mechie, Austin, Robinson, Pierce, some of these guys are lower than mine. Justin Ross, Reggie Robertson, these guys are higher on my boards. Izukanma, I think he could go in the second round. Slade Bolden, I think he could come up in the fourth. I think he could be Justin, Hunter Renfro, 2.0, also guys like Jalen Cropper out of Fresno State. I think he has legit speed. I think he has runaway game-breaking speed. These guys are guys that I all think are day two guys, but are, all the way down here. And, Jalen Tolbert's just going to be this guy. I got a feeling he's going to be that guy in this class. Let's go with the Ravens at this pick. It's David Ajabo. He's a Raven through and through. He looks like a Raven. He sounds like a Raven. And this is a team that, doesn't need him right away. But when he comes back, he'll instantly plug and play in the rotation. The Vikings at pick 46, you can't wait another year. You can't just sit and not have, this potential quarterback in your lap. And Matt Corral is sitting at 46. You just have to take the chance, even with Kirk, even with drafting Kellen Mond last year. You just have to take a chance at a first-round guy falling halfway through the second round. You just got to take it. And then pick 47, it's going to be the quarterback again, Desmond Ritter. Once Matt Corral comes off, Washington's just going to take next best quarterback, and it's Desmond Ritter. But do not sleep. Do not sleep on Carson Strong, Nevada quarterback. I clowned him a lot. But after I've been watching a lot of film and I've been watching, these games over, there's games where he's making throws where 1 or 2, 3 NFL quarterbacks can make right now. And then there's also those times where he just doesn't show up against the smallest, weakest teams in the Mountain West. And you just say, okay, what am I really looking at? Am I looking at a 7-on-7 quarterback, or am I looking at a guy that's going to read a field and read a defense for the next 15, 20 years? So you'll see him come off later as a spoiler, but not right now. Right now, we're going to look at tackle. Abraham Lucas out of Washington State. You need a pure pass-setting tackle here, and he could do it all. He's one of the best pass blockers in this league, or rookies coming into this league. Right here, it's just next best defensive back. And I am going to take Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. He reminds me of a more physical Earl Thomas, a less fast, more physical Earl Thomas. He's a center fielder, plays in the slot, and I think he has a chance to be, an all-pro. Pick 50, let's just take a big body receiver. It's going to be David Bell out of Purdue. I know he's a big riser and not a big production guy, which I really don't care for the production. I'm saying if you could, if you could run fast, jump high, if you're strong, if you could pop on film, that's all I need to see. And if you fail, it's all because of me. So he should not fail in this Kansas City offense at all. Right here, I know I said they're going to take linebacker. I have them taking linebacker in the first, but I think that you just can't not take him here. You have to take Chad Muma. He's going to be a commander over the defense. Here, it's next best thing, and I think it's Tyler Smith out of Oklahoma. Tyler Smith out of Tulsa. Oh, I almost said OSU in Oklahoma. But he's got first round intangibles. He just played out of small school. Size, first round. Testing, first round. Film, first round. He just went to Tulsa. And they just didn't win, and they did not look good at all. Pick here, 53. After double dipping at receiver, it's just next best thing, and it's Marvin Leel out of Texas A&M. He could plug and play like a Kenny Clark all over. 3 tech knows one. I've seen him play 5. He has a little bit of sloppy weight on him, according to, scouts and everything like that. But I think he looks perfectly fine the way he is. I think that build is perfect for this Green Bay Packer defense. Pick 54 here. We're going to look at the New England Patriots, who just took linebacker Devin Lloyd, who was the most linebacker pick. And now we're going to come back with another Patriot pick. And honestly, I think it's going to be Dylan Parham out of Memphis. I think they're just going to fall in love with an undersized offensive lineman, just like Isaiah Wynn and Michael Nueno. And I think they're just going to say plug and play, and he's just going to go. Pick 55 here. I still think that running back is a big, big, big issue. But I think that you really want, this kind of bigger, longer, linkier corner that's really fast. And his name is Tariq Woolen out of UTSA. 4.2 speed at 6'3", 195 pounds. No, 200 pounds. 205 pounds is too good to pass up. 4'2" at 6'3", 205. That's too hard to pass up. I'm gonna hate to match up with him if the Cardinals take him 2 times a year. So, and then we come back here. I'll give the Cowboys a safety. Jaquan Brisker, I think he's one of the better undersized safeties in this league. I think he could be a guy that's going to be a 10-time Pro Bowler by the time it's all said and done. Might not be all with the Cowboys, but I think he's going to be a very, very, very good player for a decade and a half. I don't think, receiver's the biggest need. I don't think running back's the biggest need. Let's just get it down. Let's just get, Josh Allen off his back. He's too big of a quarterback, too good of a quarterback to not be on his back. Let's take Raymond. He can plug and play everywhere, but tackle is going to be a fighting job for him right now. And the Falcons didn't take edge earlier, so we're going to take edge now. And it's going to be Nick Bonito out of Oklahoma. He's the biggest 4-3 edge scheme, in my opinion, left on the board, and we're going to take him here. And now we look at Green Bay. You just took 2 receivers, and you took an interior, inside-outside defensive lineman. Let's bolster up with someone that I think has inside-outside flexibility, and that is Sean Ryan out of UCLA. I think that he has the length and the size and the speed and the footwork to really play tackle. But right now they need a guard, and that's what they're going to get. The Tampa Bay Bucks took Sky Moore earlier. And so we're just going to go check out on the defensive side of the ball. Let's go check out interior defensive line. Travis Jones is still there. Yes, you just took you just signed Vita Vea, made him the highest paid interior defensive lineman. So we're going to – and you just drafted Joe Tryon-Shoyinka in the first last year. So are you going to really take a defensive lineman? Yes, we're going to take a guy named Drake Jackson who has true edge flexibility at that Leo role, at that beyond the 5 tech look. He's a guy that's not going to get 17 starts or even 1 start. He's going to be a very situational third down role playing pass rusher. And I think he could be an 8-9 sack guy in that situation right now in that Tampa defense. Here, we're going to look at the Niners. Going to have a first. It's going to be next best player. And it's going to be Travis Jones. They lost who they lost? They lost Jones to somebody that really good defensive, that run stuffer. I forgot his first name. But they just refill him with another great nose tackle, Travis Jones, who's younger and, in my opinion, better than him right now. Pick 62. Do you double dip at receiver? Because they really don't have a one. You got Miko, Pringle, and you got Kelsey. So you double dip? I think you do. I think you get John Mechie out of Alabama. He fits that slot role. He fits that. All right. Let's just put you in the slot, slant out, zig routes, whatever we need to do, we'll get the ball in your hands. Pick 63, one more pick to round out the second. We're just going to go next best player. And right now it's Jamari Sailor. He's a really, really stout guy at the point of attack, true box player. And I think he goes here. Let's just make sure Joe Burrow and Joe Mixon have a little bit of protection on the inside. And to round out the second round pick, the newly acquired weapon pieces are going to keep coming, but for the defensive side of the ball now. And we're just going to take next best defensive lineman. Where is he? This is not my predictive or big board. So let's take Kingsley Enagbare out of South Carolina. Big faller, had him in the first, tested horrible, but I think motor and production, no doubt, will prove that he's going to go by the second round. To start it off, here we go. The Jacksonville Jaguars went all defensive line. So let's go help him out in the secondary. Let's look at corner. See if he's listed at corner or if he's not. Let's see. He's probably listed as safety. Let's take, even though, yes, I know you literally just took Andre Cisco out of Syracuse last year, but Kirby Joseph, I feel like he's just going to make that transition a corner. And I think that if you could have a safety corner, transitioning guy that could come up outside and play, or he could come and play in the slot on third and longs, or on base downs can play that, free safety role, because Andre Cisco is a true box safety. I think taking him at the beginning of the third round here is an absolute steal. You have your quarterback, you have your edge, you got a linebacker. Let's take Nick Cross, who has blazing straight line speed. Like, if you want him to come down and hit someone, he'll come down and hit someone. If you want him to, cover the back end, he'll stick out and cover one and cover the back end. Right here, I think Saquon's going to be a tradable piece in the draft. I think he's going to be a tradable piece in the draft, realistically. And I think the Giants are going to take the first running back off the board. And it's going to be Isaiah Spiller. I think he has the best tools overall as a receiver, blocker, returner, and pure runner inside and outside. A little bit better than Breece Hall. He has a little bit more contact balance and a little bit more receiving ability than Breece Hall. Breece Hall has that straighter speed. He's a little bit better of a runner, but Isaiah Spiller, as a 5-tool guy, has the 5 tools. Breece Hall is a 4-tool bag. Here we come to pick 64. I would say next best DB, but there's just something about this defense that just lacks a oomph. And Leo Chenal is just an old school thumping linebacker. I can't even compare him to anybody in the 21st century that's played a snap. No Zach Thomas, no Lance Briggs, no Brian Urlacher. The closest thing I could think of, oh man, I can't even think of a linebacker that's played in the 21st century that reminds me of Leo Chenal. Just this big, thick boulder that has the longest arms, the biggest arms, such a good lender. So such a good low center of gravity at 6'3", 255 pounds that he's just I realistically he won't fall this far, but I think the needs of teams are just going to come up so high that in a predictive mock draft, I think he's just going to fall this far, but he will not escape the top 50. But he's an old school linebacker. I can't compare him to anything like I've ever seen. It's like, I don't know if if you guys probably don't know, but there's a linebacker that I watched play for Seattle named Lofa Tatupu, and he's just a shorter version of him. He's about 5'11", 250 pounds. So he's a shorter guy, but very similar. A good mover in space, great run stuffer, and he's very underrated in space. So pick here. I could just talk about Leo Chenal all day. He's just one of my favorite my guys. Pick here, pick 69. Let's take a linebacker. Quay Walker finally comes off. I'm not that high on Quay Walker. I don't think he goes in the first 3 rounds, but let's just take next best linebacker on the board, and it's him. Jags are in need of dire tight end help. I know that offensive line and maybe safety, maybe linebacker safety is a bigger need, but you need someone to catch 70 balls from Trevor Lawrence, and it's going to be Trey McBride. Here, let's go get you a big receiver. Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati. He's not very high on this board, but he's a top 7 receiver for me. Seattle at pick 72. There's a lot of picks left. Seattle has a lot of options. We took who did we take? We took Falele and Karlaftis. We went offensive and defensive line in the 4th. And we took corner at pick 9. So realistically, Seattle's probably going to take a stab at offensive line again. I'm a big fan of Cam Thomas. I'm a big fan of Logan Hall. Josh Pascal is a really big late riser for me. But I think Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma is a little bit of an undersized, scheme fit for us. But I think that we need a true Mike. I think that they're going to keep Jordan Brooks at weak side. So we need a big run stuffing guy. Darian Beavers out of Cincinnati. He's a really good hybrid today's age linebacker. That's really what he is. After taking Perion Winfrey here, we're going to come and take my guy Cam Thomas out of San Diego State. Really good high motor guy, high character guy. I like him a lot. Here is where you take your quarterback for the Falcons, big boomer bust guy. If he's healthy, he could be the number 1 guy in this class. But if it doesn't check out or if he doesn't pan out, then you just lose an early 3rd round pick. You lose $800K a year for the next 3 years. So you're not missing much with Carson Strong in the 3rd. The upside, there's too much upside for the low amount of downside, which is the injury. Pick 75 here. Let's just go next best player that's not a running back or a defensive lineman or a tight end or a linebacker. So we're going to go Darion Canard, who has tackle flexibility. Like I said about Kenyon Green, a little bit sloppier looking than I'd like, but can't say much looking at myself. So let's go with Darren Canard out of Kentucky. He could play everywhere. Left tackle to right tackle. He could go coast to coast. The pick here at 76, we're going to go Logan Hall, just defensive lineman. He's an interior defensive lineman at 280 pounds. Pick 77 here. Let's just go next best defensive lineman. And I'm a big fan of Matthew Butler and Iowa State's Ayoma Owazuriki. But I think they're going to go a little bit more traditional edge, and I think they're going to go Tyreek Smith. And I think that he's going to be a nice comp to what you have with the freak of Danielle Hunter. Danielle Hunter is more of just a speed to power guy, but if he could get around you or inside of you, he can. But Tyreek Smith is a toned down version of Danielle Hunter. Not as fast, not as big, not as strong, not as twitchy, not as refined, but he is a very good technician with his hands, and he has a very great anchor, despite not having the frame of having a really good anchor. Right here, Majira Sanders out of Cincinnati. He looks like a Brown through and through. Here, I think it's just next best player. And even though you have Austin Eckler, you have to take a bigger back. And Breece Hall's just going to be that interior runner. Yes, you have Josh Kelly, and he's coming into a contract year, and he's a guy that's going to be looking for a big payday. He's going to be looking for 10 plus a year because of just how he was utilized and the efficiency he had touching the ball. But Breece Hall in the third for the next 4 years with an aging Eckler, I think he's going to be a guy that's gonna. Not saying he's going to be the next Derrick Henry, but I think he could get that handoff exchange that Derrick Henry got with DeMarco Murray in Tennessee. Here, it's just going to go next best player. I am a big fan of Marcus Jones out of Houston, but I think they're going to want a little bit more size. So we're going to go Martin Emerson out of Mississippi State. He fits a number profile. He fits a number one outside man coverage corner. Long, lanky, physical, not the fastest or the quickest, but he'll stick with you in coverage. Here we're gonna go next best safety. And it's gonna be, I thought DeMar Mathis should have came out last year, but let's see what that Oregon kid is. Verone McKinley out of Oregon. Is going to go to New York. Oh my God. What was that? The safety. Xavier McKinney is not related to McKinley, by the way, New York fans. But Verone McKinley I think he's going to be a very good undersized box. Plays majority slot. I think he could find a role as a Tyrann Mathieu here. Not saying he's going to be Tyrann, but I think he can find a Tyrann role. And here, I think it's just next best linebacker. I actually like Channing Tindall a lot, but I think Troy Anderson, who I've been a big fan on since before the season started, I think this dude is going to be, a day two sleeper, and he's going to be a future star. Troy Anderson tested well, measured well, and he showed up at the combine just like I thought he would. And Troy Anderson, I'm a big fan. I think he could do everything just at a lower level, so that's why he falls. If you put him at Alabama, he probably would have had the same stats and production and impact. Pick 83, you can never double dip enough on linebacker. So we're going to take Channing Tindall, who's my second favorite linebacker out of Georgia. And I think he better fits this thumping role scheme. Let's take Marcus Jones, smaller guy out of Houston, who has maybe the best special teams flexibility in this entire draft. Pick 85, I think they're going to need a little bit of explosiveness. So let's go Rondell Robertson. You've got your couple pass catchers, Myers and Kendrick Bourne, couple good tight ends. Now you need this wiggle, and that's Rondell Robinson. The Raiders are yet to have a pick, and it's going to be next best player. And I think it's going to be Nicholas Petit-Frere out of Ohio State. Plays all over the offensive line. You could plug him at guard now and, maybe move him around to see where you want, him at right tackle, or if you want to keep him at guard, because Miller's your left for the next couple of years. And we're going to look at the Cardinals edges sitting there. If you look at them, you've got guys like Isaiah Thomas out of Oklahoma, Sam Williams, Amari Barno, Alex Wright. Look at these guys. Myron Tagovailoa out of Notre Dame. Chris Allen out of Alabama, who was a potential first round at the beginning of this year. Figueroa, Tyler Johnson, Demetrius Taylor, Tyree Johnson out of A&M. I think he could be a sleeper in the 6th round or 7th round. They have a couple guys that I don't see, but let's go look interior defensive line. He might be on the interior defensive line. Let's see. Sorry, this video is going a lot longer than I thought. They do not have him listed here. Maybe set linebacker. Yes, Brandon Smith here. I think Brandon Smith has edge flexibility out of Penn State. Very long, very lanky, tested well. Brandon Smith could sneak in the second, but I think he's going to be a great pick. Yes, you just took linebacker first 2 years in a row, but Brandon Smith has edge flexibility. And on this defense, I think that guy that can play inside, outside has everything to do. You can never find enough edge rushers. Even if he's a 6-7 sack guy rookie year, that's 6 or 7 more sacks you had than last year. Pick 88. Let's go take the next edge guy. And it is going to be, these are not my lists, by the way, but it's going to be Tyree Johnson out of Texas A&M. I think he's got that twitch. He's got that size, speed, length twitch that I think no one has. And I think Tyree Johnson can be a great Gregory replacement here in the third. Let's go to the Bills and let's go get a tight end. I know that they have Dawson Knox. They like him, but he's just missing that piece. And that piece is the flexibility. And Isaiah likely has that receiver slot flexibility that Knox does not have. And I think even if you don't get rid of Knox this year, this is a guy that could go for 50 catches, 700 yards his rookie year with Josh Allen and immediately make an impact. And after taking Kenyon Green, let's go find some support. This is a guy that not very people are high on, but I think that let's see where he is. Eric Izukanma, he's got this length that you don't see at the 6'2" size. He's got 6'5" length. He looks like his arms are like defensive ends. They're just long and they just pluck the ball out of the air. Eric Izukanma is my guy, and I think that he's going to be a very feasible, rookie in Tennessee. And then we're going to look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know that, they don't need a running back, but I'm going to want to give them one. And it's going to be James Cook out of Georgia, maybe the best receiving back in the draft class. One of the fastest, quickest guys. And you need that to comp the power of a Leonard Fournette. And here it's going to be next best edge. I think he's listed as a defensive lineman. These guys are a lot lower than what I have him at. Nope, he's an edge. Yeah, so I gotta get my 50 and my 100 big board together, and those are going to be the videos in the coming weeks. Those will be a live big board as well. All these are live picks. These are not, my predictive picks. Let's go Alex Wright. He's got very big flexibility. I forgot a guy that came out last year out of UAB. He was the same kind of thing, a longer, lankier, boomer bust guy. But Alex Wright just is a little bit better of a tester. Pick 93. We've got your my worst enemy, the 49ers. And they're just going to take Kobe Bryant, next best corner. He's really good. Really overhyped, but he's a great third-round pick. This is an A+ tier pick, in my opinion. While we're at corner slot or in the corner tab already, we're going to take – I want to take Jalen Watson. He's my guy out of Washington State. He's a big, lanky corner. He reminds me of Brandon Browner. Not Demarion Williams. See a safety? Might be a safety. Huh. There it is, Kobe Harvell Peel. I pick him because of his size. At 6, he says 6'1", but I think he's about 6'1", 210. He's a physical guy, and you need a physical guy on the outside. And yes, he's really down far here, but I think he's a press corner that you really need. Another guy that I think can make that corner transition is Brad Hawkins out of Michigan. Maybe. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna go Bubba Bolden. I said I was gonna go in, but I like Bubba Bolden. I'm gonna go with a 6'3" Bubba Bolden out of Miami. I know I said I would just take Kobe Harvell Peel. He's one of my guys because I watch a lot of Oklahoma State football. For some reason, I grew up watching them, and whenever they're on TV, I just click on it. But I'm gonna go with Bubba Bolden. Here's gonna be this pick. This is gonna be Brian Cook out of Cincinnati with Jesse Bates, in a big payday grade year, and you never know. He's gonna be the guy that's gonna come out. Pick here, you don't really need a corner, but I'm gonna go with Josh Jobe, who's just been falling. I think he has second round skills, but just guys are rising. Josh Jobe has been a solid starter in Alabama for many years now, and it's just let's just take the next big guy. Finally, we're gonna dip in receiver. Let's give you some blazing speed with Khalil Shakir. He's a blazer. He's a mover, slot inside. He's a real good piece for this offense. That if you want a guy that's gonna have over 100 touches in a year, this is gonna be your guy. He's gonna be 50 catches, 50 carries, and 50 returns. So he's just gonna be a guy that's gonna be all over the place. Now is when I'll take a stab at tackle. Now is when Giodecki comes off the board for me. I've heard people say his name differently. Godek, Judiki, Giodecki. I think it's Giodecki. Giodecki. I think he comes out of Central Michigan. I think he's gonna be a third round pick, just like I'm really good. Teron Armstead, who just went to Miami. He was a third round pick, a stab out of a small school. Here's Giodecki, a third round pick, stab out of a small school. Oops, my mic just fell. I don't know my mic. And he's just gonna plug and play for a long time here. Here, it's just the Browns. They are just a pick away. And so why not go get the next pick? And I think it's gonna be where's the guy at Tennessee? Where's my guy? I have to pull up the tab again. Matthew Butler out of Tennessee. I don't know if you guys know who Michael Brockers is, but Michael Brockers is a guy that played for the Rams. He's a very good, role player, run stuff and pass rusher. Right now, he reminds me of Michael Brockers, but he could turn into this. I'm not going to call it, but I think he could turn into a Charles Haley kind of defensive lineman, a Reggie White guy that's going to just overpower you. I'm not going to say that he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think Matthew Butler just has that build. Like when you look at him, he's 6'4", 299 pounds, 6'4", 300. He could play everywhere. He fits the scheme. And then we're going to go here. We're going to look. I think they give some comp with an undersized linebacker here to I can't even remember his name, Patrick Queen, who I thought Seattle should have taken, but I gladly think that we took Jordan Brooks. He did come up, he did struggle throughout the first 12 games and then finish strong. But I think another smaller, undersized, linebacker could come in and really, give him competition and really push him to the edge. Right here, we went with size at receiver. And now we're going to go with a little bit more of playmaking. So let's go with Reggie Robertson at SMU, mad production, and he's just going to be a really, really good slot guy for them. And here we're going to take receiver, my guy, Justin Ross. I feel like the injuries didn't happen. He'd be a first round pick for sure. Justin Ross out of Clemson comes here to the fourth, to Miami. And then we're going to go with pick 103 here. We're going to go receiver again, but we're going to go with a little bit more size. Where's my guy at? Is he a tight end? Maybe he didn't declare. I need to get back up on my draft topics, guys. That's my bad. Ooh. Okay. Maybe I passed him. We're going to go. Oh, there he is. Nope, that's not him. Man, I really lost him right here. Let me see. I think he's a little higher. Oh, right here. Beau Melton. He did measure a little smaller than I thought. I think he'd be like 6'2", 200. I'm a big fan of Beau Melton. If you look at his, intangibles, he's he's a guy that I think could have produced more in a different scheme, but I think Beau Melton out of Rutgers, I just did take a receiver, but I think that he could be a plug and play guy. He's not a burner. He's not this. He's not that. He's just good at everything. If you could get a guy that's good at everything, I think that's a guy that can really make an impact. Kelvin Austin the third is sitting around here, and you were gonna take him. I was thinking about taking Kelvin Austin, but he's a little too gadgety for me, and I think that they already have a couple gadget guys, so they just want a guy that can really hold it down and do a lot. Um, Pick 105, the San Francisco 49ers. Let's see what tackle is left for them. Rashid out of Penn State is the last big guy by a mile. Maybe Tyler Vrabel. Let's look at interior. Ooh, Ed Ingram's still here. Let's take Ed Ingram out of LSU, who I think is better than Jamil Salier. And let's look at this second and third round picks. We went to Vontae Wyatt to the Jags, Sam Howell to the Lions, Pickens to the Jets, Harris to the Giants, Ebiketie to the Texans at edge, McCreary in the slot to the Jets, Mafe to the Bears, Karloftis and Falele to Seattle, Perion Winfrey for the Colts' first pick. Atlanta Falcons take Lewis Cine out of Georgia to keep him in the state. Cleveland takes Jalen Tolbert. Baltimore takes a Raven through and through, David Ajabo. Minnesota can't wait for the quarterback next year. They try out Matt Corral. Desmond Ritter falls to the Washington Commanders at 47. Bears take next best tackle, Abraham Lucas. New Orleans is in dire need of just another DB. Jalen Petre's next best. Kansas City needs a big body guy, David Bell. Philly's dying at linebacker, Muma at 51 in the second. Tyler Smith, guard out of Tulsa, first round upside, first round, intangibles, played at a smaller school, falls to 52 to the Steelers. Marvin Leel falls out of the first to 53 to the Packers, which could be very real. Parham, another New England pick, undersized offensive lineman, plug and play for the next 10 years. Arizona takes Tariq Woolen, a 4.2 speed at 6'3", 205 pounds. You can't pass that up. It's not going to fall out of the second. Jaquan Brisker, I finally let the Cowboys take a safety within the first 2 rounds. He's a very good undersized, speedier guy who can play slot as well. Bernard Raymond is just plug and play wherever you need him. Nick Bonito, a true, all-around outside 5-tech edge guy that they need. Green Bay takes Sean Ryan, tackle flexibility guard out of UCLA. Drake Jackson has, third down pass rush written all over him his rookie year. I see him 7, 8, 9 sack guy his rookie year. Travis Jones out of UConn, he can't fall anymore. Nasty interior guy, could jump up to the first. John Mechie to the Kansas City Chiefs in the second. I did take 3 receivers because you need as many as you can get. You got your big, you got your slot, and I took another guy that could be a sleeper in this draft out of Rutgers. I'll show you later. To finish off, we got Jamari Sailor out of Georgia, who I think Ed Ingram is better out of LSU. But I think Sawyer is just a better culture and scheme fit with all those, with all this, SEC comp. I know he's an SEC player too, and you got Joe Burrow, and you already got, their center from last year. But I think Sawyer is a better scheme fit, and he's a little bit bigger in intangibles. To finish off the second, Kingsley Enagbari for the, maybe Super Bowl favorite Broncos. And to start off the second, we had the Jags taking Kirby Joseph, who's a safety but has, I think, corner flexibility. Nick Cross, one of the fastest safeties, who's got straight line speed. Isaiah Spiller's the first back off the board, and I think it's because of a trade with Saquon Barkley during the draft. I'm calling it now. The Texans take Leo Chenal, one of my favorite linebackers, aside from Lloyd and Nakobe Dean, just big old school guy. Quay Walker out of Georgia goes to the New York Jets. This is just a stab, next best. Jacksonville is in dire need of a tight end playmaker, and Trey McBride, I think, is going to be a Greg Olsen type of player. Alec Pierce, who's I'm really high on, goes to the Bears. I think he's going to be what they wished Kevin White turned into, just a bigger, athletic, really smooth athlete. Seattle takes their linebacker, Darren Beavers, in the third. Indy stays on the D-line, taking Cam Thomas, one of my guys, high motor. Film does not lie. Atlanta takes their potential quarterback of the future behind Mariota with Carson Strong. If he hits, he hits. He could be the best thrower in this league. He could be the best thrower in this draft class. But it's just how well he can stay healthy. Canard, inside-outside flexibility as well. Logan Hall, inside-outside flexibility. Tyreek Smith, really good technician at Ohio State, Senior Bowl guy. Majira Sanders, all the upside in the world. Didn't test as well as I thought, but he looks like a Brown. Breece Hall, the second back taken off my board. Is he the second back? Yeah, he's the second back taken off. These are my 1 and 2s. Love the size, love the upside. He's got great straight line speed, and I think he's going to be a great comp to Austin Eckler. Pick 80, Martin Emerson, a longer, lankier corner, really good in press, and I think he's worth the 80th pick. Verone McKinley out of Oregon, he's a really good, free safety, can play as an undersized box, but him and Xavier McKinney are going to be, their next safeties for a long time. Troy Anderson, linebacker out of Montana State, he's my guy. I've been high on him before the college football season started. Taken at 82, that's great value in the third. Shannon Tindall, my second favorite Georgia linebacker, goes to the Eagles at 83. Marcus Jones, undersized, special teams corner out of Houston, goes to Pittsburgh. Wandale Robertson, extremely loose and extremely wiggly, after the catch, goes to New England at 85. Nicholas Petit-Frere, next best offensive lineman, goes to the Raiders. You took one in the first. Next year, you just signed Derek Carr to make him the 5th highest paid quarterback of all time, or currently right now. So you might as well just invest and make sure he stays on his backside, off his backside, at least 5 times less. And this is another my guy, Brandon Smith. I think he has Hassan Reddick written all over him. And if you could get Hassan Reddick in the 3rd round, yeah, that's going to be a hit. Tyree Johnson, another technician like Tyreek Smith out of Ohio State. Tyree Johnson is another technician, another Senior Bowl guy. And he's a guy that's going to, find a role somewhere in his rookie year and then establish it later on. Likely is a flexible tight end, perfect for Josh Allen and Sean McDermott's scheme on offense. Izukanma out of Texas Tech is my guy at pick 90. I think he's what Corey Davis could have been in Tennessee. And I think that he's going to be, worth the 90th pick, despite being a faller. 91, we're going to take James Cook, really quick scat receiving back to comp with Leonard Fournette. Alex Wright, another flexible defensive lineman, just not as big and as a high profile as Marvin Leel. Kobe Bryant, just another longer, lankier corner that you need. Bubba Bolden is a safety linebacker corner hybrid at 6'3", 200 pounds. Brian Cook out of Cincinnati is another straight line speed guy that, could play strong or free. It just depends on where you want him in the scheme. And I think here he's going to play free safety his first year. And at pick 96, we're going to take Josh Jobe, just a linebacker, corner that's been a long time. You're going to team him up with Surtain, who've played 3 years together. Pick 97, this seems like a lion pick. Khalil Shakir, smaller, lankier receiver out of Boise State, really fast. Giodecki in the third to the New Orleans Saints out of Central Michigan. It's I just said his name. Teron Armstead pick all over again. Pick 99, Matthew Butler out of Tennessee. He has all the upside, and he's a high floor, high upside guy. He's the guy that's going to come in, and he could start right away. And he's a guy that's going to, by the end, he could be a first ballot. Pick 100, Osimo, another undersized linebacker to battle it out and challenge Patrick Queen in iron sharpen iron style. Reggie Robertson out of SMU, you just need a guy that could plug and play in the slot. Justin Ross, that big body outside guy after trading Devontae Parker. Why not snag him in the third? Injuries are an issue, yes, but I'm willing to take the risk. Here's my guy, Beau Melton out of Rutgers. He's a little smaller than I thought. I thought he'd be about 6'2", 200. On here is like 5'11", 199 or so, 190 pounds. He's really good. He's good at everything. Good pass catcher, good route runner, good speed, good quickness, good playmaking, good blocking. He's just good at everything, so that's why he's going to find a role somewhere. Kelvin Austin out of Memphis, he's more of the explosive guy that you want, and that's going to be more of the splash guy. But I think Beau Melton is going to be a guy that's going to sneak up this high. And then the guy I was talking about, Ed Ingram out of LSU, he won't fall out of the third. He's Damian Lewis 2.0 out of LSU. So that rounds up my second and thirds following that first round pick. As I said, please, if you're new, subscribe. And if you're returning, a like, comment what you want to see, comment what you would have done differently, comment what your team is, what you want your team to do, comment anything about content. We've got a lot more. We've got my 50 big board coming on Monday. The full first round following the second and third round mock draft will be in the description below. Please leave a like, please comment, and please share. And stay healthy, stay happy, man. And we'll catch y'all on the flip.